Well, that was great. Some of those were really hard.
Yeah,
Do you think
I struggled with most of those.
Honestly. Do you think you knew your teammates as well as that?
We didn't get many right there. I'd
No,
like to think that I might have known my teammates a bit better.
But knowing their career journees as well?
I spoke earlier about players being selfish.
Yeah, you just focused on you.
Just focus on myself and I wouldn't have known.
Bruno Fernandes with the win there. Has he got a shout for Player of the Year? Player of the Season in the Premier League?
He's doing really well at the moment. What he's done is he's assumed that captain's leadership role. There's been a lot of talk around him being Manchester United's captain, but what he's done and what he's doing at the moment is showing through his performances that he's a leader. You know, there are different types of leaders. I don't see him coming across as one of the Roy Keane screamer shouter. He seems to be able to do his leadership duties with the ball. Look at the way that he scores the winning goal, and he's a player that I think Manchester United are finally seeing consistency out of. We knew he was a top player when he came, and they knew that how good he could be, but now what he's doing it on a regular basis for them. He's done really well this season.
Oh, we may be seeing a bit of consistency from Manchester United as well. Maybe forget about the West Ham game. Fulham, question mark as well. But, I mean, from Carrick coming in, 5 games, 4 wins, 1 draw.
What you're seeing, in my opinion, is they've just been given clear instruction of A, how we play when we have the ball, B, what we do when we don't have it, and C, flair players, go and be creative. Kobe Mainoo, get on the ball, go and be creative. You know, the players that weren't in the team, I'm sure that Michael would have put his arm around and got them where they need to be. You look at the result, obviously, there that they got at Arsenal. What they did was they showed huge character in that game as well, because they came, obviously, from losing positions. Michael has instilled a bit of that real sort of... It used to be called Fergie time, didn't it? And that's what they seem to be trying to bring back now. His big players are performing for him. Now, that begs the question as to why weren't they performing for the last manager? The players haven't changed. The formation has. Maybe there's a lift at the training ground. That man, Michael, knows, along with Johnny Evans in his backroom staff, exactly what it means to A, play for Manchester United, but more importantly, how it feels. That's really, really important, that, because some of those players that were there might not have understood that. We've only got to go to Johnny, to the manager, to Michael, to understand that feeling. It's a special place to play football, a special football club. If he carries on, he's putting himself in a position where it might be impossible not to give him the job. I remember coming and we were having a chat 3 or 4 weeks ago of here in the studio around it, and we didn't quite know what was going to happen. Well, does he take it till the end of the season? I think if he carries on, there's every chance that they might not be able to not give him the job. Look, I know we're looking far ahead, but 5 games, 4 wins, 1 loss, the tables are slowly turning at Manchester United.
I think if you're judging Michael Carrick on the games he's had in charge so far, you have to say he's been successful, he's done really well. I think it's still too early to tell whether he is going to be someone for the long term for Manchester United. I think there are still question marks that there's bound to be, because they've faced different types of oppositions, come up against different types of defences, different match situations, and some of the questions have been answered, some of the questions haven't quite been answered. I think the other thing that Michael Carrick has done is that he's brought a sense of calm to Manchester United. Journalists were turning up to Ruben Amorim's news conferences on a weekly basis, knowing that they were going to get a headline out of the head coach, and that probably led to a lot of people upstairs in the back office at Manchester United tearing their hair out a little bit, because they knew that, or they didn't know exactly what the manager was going to come out with on a weekly basis. I think Michael Carrick has brought that sense of calm. I think there'll be more questions for Michael Carrick this week, probably questions that he won't want to answer around the ownership situation and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's comments over the last week, because he will be
not helped, has it?
Asked about those, which unfortunately for him, it means the focus is going to be on things that are out of his control. And I think he would quite like things to be focused on what's going on the pitch. But they've had no European football, no FA Cup this weekend. So the dynamics change. We've talked about it a lot already today, even around the number of fixtures that teams are playing. United are able to have a full week on the training pitch most weeks. They're able to put their strongest side out most weeks. They're in possession of a Champions League place right now, and that will change next season once the fixtures start to ramp up for them. And that is another question that I don't think has been answered and won't get answered between now and the end of the season, because United simply don't have the workload.
Well, it's more they just need to take these opportunities then, don't they? If they don't have as many games as some of the other teams that they're fighting it out with for Champions League football.
Most definitely. That's what they have to do. It sounds simple, but they've just got to keep putting performances in and winning games of football. They will be coming up against teams from now to the end of the season who would have played on a Tuesday night, who would have played on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, and then they're playing again 3 or 4 days later. We know that the schedule of the Premier League is different to the other leagues in Europe because it is more relentless. But coupled with that, on top of that, the added extra European football, then it does become difficult. But that's a plus for Manchester United that they don't have that. This international break might give an opportunity to have some time off for the players, right? It might do, you don't know. But it's going to be interesting. So one thing I do know is that he's done a wonderful job to this point. And I'm really pleased that we're sat here talking about a young English coach managing one of the biggest clubs in the world, and he's picked up 13 points out of 15. Well, he's doing okay, but it'll be judged by the end of the season. Manchester United will desperately want Champions League football next year.
Expect them to get it then? Because we were saying a minute, expectations have changed now, haven't they?
If he continues with what's happened, in terms of the results keep coming, then they'll get it. They'll get Champions League football because the performances and the results will dictate where they finish in the league, and that will be in the top 4 if he continues going. They're going to have difficult games from now to the end of the season, but confidence and momentum are 2 huge things in football. Well, they're huge things in sport, but especially in football. Manchester United didn't have that 5 games ago. They've now got that going into this last block of fixtures into the season. So he's got a wonderful opportunity to deliver what the owners and the supporters, more importantly, at Manchester United wanted to start the season, which was Champions League football. The Champions League doesn't seem the same when Man United aren't in it. Now, that's me growing up, having watched football and being a football fan. Manchester United were always historically one of the biggest teams in the European competition. And then when the Champions League come along, I still remember that night in Barcelona watching that when, look, it's a historic club. I think they've got the right man in charge at the moment for this group of players. Hopefully, he gets the results from now to the end of the season. And if he does, then he might have the opportunity to manage a club beyond that.
Yeah.